Hi, this is Harold again with Unboxing Bowie. It's the 5th installment and it's about Toy, one of the famous lost albums by David Bowie, and it has been released only just this year on the 14th of January. Well, it's already February, and I apologize, but I had to sort some things out, so that's why I do it right now. And it took me a lot of self-restrictions because they're still closed, the boxes, so I'm really going to unbox them for you straight away. Well, Toy is, like I said, one of the so-called lost albums by David Bowie, and this one is really a lost album. I'll take you back to some history about this album. In 1999, David Bowie had a small promotional tour for his album Hours, and during these concerts he started playing a very old song. It's called I Can't Help Thinking About Me, that he recorded and released in 1966 under the name of David Bowie. It was his first single as David Bowie, in fact. Well, obviously it didn't do anything, so we only know this song right now because David Bowie got famous afterwards, and this song is released in zillion versions after that on lots of collective album collections. Anyway, it was nice, and Bowie got enthusiastic, and after that in 2000 he had his massive concert in Glastonbury, and he also included, during rehearsals for that album, he also included the song The London Boys from 1967, which was on his first album. He had a great, wonderful band back then. Gail Andorsi on bass, Sterling Campbell on drums, Mark Platy on rhythm guitar, Mike Garson, who was still nice in those days, on keyboards and synthesizers, and first in 1999 he had Page Hamilton as a guitar player as a replacement for Reese Gabrels, and in 2000 he took back Earl Slick as a guitar player, and there were two girls, Em Griner and Holly Palmer, who did some backing vocals and various instruments. A very good band, and they got extremely enthusiastic about all these old songs, and so Bowie decided to record an album with old songs. He picked about 14 of those and they started recording, and the idea was to release this album called Toy in 2000 to 2001 as a surprise, just without any promotional efforts. However, Sony couldn't do this, so the album was shelved, and some of the songs were later released as B-sides to singles from the next album of Bowie, Heathen. So on the flip side of Slow Burn, on the flip side of Everyone Says Hi and A Better Future, you could find some of these songs. But generally the project was shelved, so there was no Toy. Everyone knew it existed, but it wasn't going to surface for a long time. By the way, it's the second album that is called Bowie's Lost Album. The first Bowie's Lost album was The Gouster of 1974, but that's basically young Americans without fame. So don't fall for that. Toy was really a lost album, and The Gouster wasn't. In 2011, a bootleg emerged of Toy. Various bootlegs, in fact, and on these bootlegs there were some of these songs, of these old songs that Bowie recorded, but there were also some new songs, Afraid and Uncle Floyd, but we already knew those songs because they were on Heathen in a new version. But it wasn't the real Toy, and I think around that time in 2011 it was decided to start releasing Toy at a certain moment. But well, first of all, the next day had to be released, and next to that, well, we all know what happened. So it took a while for Toy to really emerge, and the first time that we got it officially was on this massive box set of Brilliant Adventure. You know, this one. I discussed this one earlier on, and it is in here as a CD, and it's also in here as a 12-inch album. In fact, it's 1.5 album. It's 3 sides of a 12-inch album. I said something about the cover, and I still think this rates between the ugliest Bowie covers ever. I mean, if you have the face that he has. How on earth can you put out something like this? I mean, it's way up there together with the Changes 2, which is also a very ugly cover. But it was the first time, but it was in this box, and that was a very expensive box, as I already told you, so we all hoped for an official release. Well, this official release, like I said, was there on the 14th of January of this year. And here they are. We have a CD, we have a cassette. Does anyone still know what a cassette is? And we have a 10-inch version, and it's called Toy Box, and you see, well, this is 10, and this is 12-inch, so it's really smaller. And this is called Toy Box. And why is this called Toy Box? Because it's not just the album Toy. Well, on the cassette it's just the album Toy. 6 songs on the A side and 6 songs on the B side. But in this box there are several albums. First of all, it's the genuine Toy album, and the second one is an album with the mixes that were done in 2001 to be paired on the B-sides of these hidden singles. And there's also a live version of one of the songs. I think, what was it? Silly Boy Blue. Yeah, very lovely one. And the third one is also very interesting, because what they did was, and that was an initiative of Earl Slick, what they also did, Mark Platty and Earl Slick, on each song they also played acoustic guitar, and it was way back in mix in the original Toy. But if you put them in front of the mix and you erase everything else, then you get acoustic versions of all these songs. And these acoustic, sort of acoustic versions are also on the box in the third CD or album version. So now what we have here, first of all, is the unboxed CD version. I'm very excited what will be inside. I guess CDs and maybe a booklet and some information that I'm not going to read out for you. Look at that. I mean, if you look like this, how on earth do you put this on the cover? Why? I just don't understand it. Okay. So, a booklet. You've got it made with the rest of the toys, and it says, well, we have here I Dig Everything, 65. You've Got to Have a Habit of Leaving, 65. The London Boys and Karma Man, both 67. Conversation Piece, a song from 1970, very lovely song, by the way. Shadow Man, that's the newest song. He wrote that in 1971, and it's lovely. It's really the high point of this album. Let Me Sleep Beside You, wonderful piece of rock. Hole in the Ground, which is not very good. He also wrote that in '68. I think he recorded it together with Hutch, his guitar player in those days, around the time of Space Odyssey. But it's just not. It's more of a demo. It's not very good. Baby Loves That Way, 65. Can't Help Thinking About Me. I already talked about that. And Silly Boy Blue, and Toy. And Toy is the only really new song, because there was a jam that the whole band did. Toy or Your Turn to Drive. Well, that is the normal version, and then the second version is the Alternatives and Extras, which also contains a version of Liza Jane, which was Bowie's first single as Davy Jones. And then, well, what's on it as well? In the Heat of the Morning. That was also recorded, but it's not on the Toy album, but it is on the Alternatives and Extras. Very good. And then we have the third one, and it's called Unplugged and Somewhat Slightly Electric, because there are also some, thingies on it. Very nice, very nice. It looks good, and as you can see, well, as usual, with my old eyes, I can't read this at all. In here we have the 3 CDs. I may have told you that in the Brilliant Adventures, the original CD is gold, but here you see it is silver-plated CD, so that's the difference. By the way, I really like this color and this cover. That's very nice, very well done. Okay, so this is what it looks like when doves cry, and also when you open up Toy and the CD. I will, by the way, not open the cassette because this really is a collector's item. I will keep it closed. I do have a cassette player, but no, let's not do that. So, next up, the big one, the 10-inch. I'm very curious about what it looks like inside. Let me cut it open here. I want to preserve the little sticker that is in front of it. You know, yeah, this one little sticker. It says the new album from David Bowie! Featuring the singles You've Got a Habit of Leaving and Shadow Man. Yes, these are singles, not vinyl singles, but it's released as a single on Spotify, for instance. Very nice indeed. And on Spotify there's also the demo version of Shadow Man of 1970 or 71. I will check that out. It's a really lovely version as well. Now, this is what I call a treat. There's a ribbon to pull everything out. There's a bigger, well, at least not huge, but a bigger book that I can actually almost read with all the players on it. These are all portraits that it looks like a Dutch artist, Marguerite Duras, but I think, Dumas, I should say, but I think Bowie made those. Very nice. Very nice. Well, check it out for yourself. I mean, it is a costly hobby because this one is, I think, about 150 euros. The CD is very affordable, but the album isn't. Well, look at this. Doesn't that look wonderful? So each album is on 2 discs, 2 10-inch discs, so 6 or 7 songs per album. It looks really wonderful. I mean, this is why I collect albums. This is why I collect Bowie, because it's so very beautifully done. Not because it contains anything new that I didn't know yet, but because it's just wonderfully done. And if next time they put up a nice cover, that would also help, obviously. So, now you know a little bit more about Toy. I think this will be the first film, because it's way too long to pass on through WhatsApp. It will be the first film that you can only see on YouTube. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned a little bit more about Bowie. And as always, enjoy the music and God bless.